Welcome everyone to the 2021 NHCC Children's
Okay.
Bilingual Book Festival. We're so glad you're here. My name is Sutherland Jaramillo, and I am an AmeriCorps member in the History and Literary Arts program at the National Hispanic Cultural Center. This event comes to you from the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico, home of the National Hispanic Cultural Center. We acknowledge that New Mexico is comprised of the ancestral and unceded land of 19 sovereign Pueblo nations, as well as 3 Apache tribes and the Navajo Nation. We are indebted to the original caretakers of this land and to the land itself. We are dedicated to engagement with complex issues of history, identity, heritage, and culture. This kind of engagement is at the heart of cultural understanding and promotes a legacy that is dedicated to justice and reconciliation. We'd like to thank the City of Albuquerque, New Senda Credit Union, and Artful Life for their generous support for the festival. During the presentation, we will mute participants and close the chat until the Q&A time. Now I'd like to introduce Maria Gomez, who is your presenter for this session. Maria Gomez grew up in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, where she enjoyed the simple pleasures of small town life, family, community, and the outdoors. After graduating from Santa Rosa High School, she moved to Albuquerque and received her bachelor's degree from the University of New Mexico. She majored in journalism and mass communication with a concentration in multimedia journalism. Wanting to explore more creative writing led her to publishing her first short story with the guidance of Plot Duckies. Plot Duckies gave her the tools to share a story that she's always wanted to bring to life about her childhood, growing up with her grandmother, and the lesson she learned to never underestimate the power and comfort of a fresh tortilla. Welcome, Maria.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. So my name is Maria Gomez, and I'm the author of Gramitas Tortillas. I was inspired to write this story because I grew up with my gramita, and I watched her make tortillas for everyone she loved, and it really brought people together, and it was so comforting. And when I think of home, I think of my gramita spreading her love with her tortillas. And so I really wanted to share that with everybody. And hopefully, this story reminds them of home and is comforting. So I'm going to start off by reading the English version, and then I'm going to share with you guys a cooking demonstration, and I'll read the Spanish version also, and then we'll do a Q&A. So I'm going to get started. Oh, I want to show you guys the cover first. This is my cover. This is a little gramita in the kitchen cooking on her comal, and up here in the title, I have a little heart tortilla. I also really like this cute little oven. My gramita had an oven like this. And then we have the ristra right here. Also show you the back. This is actually a picture of me and my gramita when I was little. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you guys. And I'll start with the acknowledgements. This story is written out of love and dedicated to the spirit of my gramita Rosa Gomez. Love to my mom, Georgia, and sister Ramona. Thank you to Sonia Dewing and Plot Duckies for the guidance and encouragement to publish my book. As I wake up in a warm, sunny house, I get out of bed and follow the smell of fresh tortillas to the kitchen. I find my gramita in the kitchen making dozens of tortillas in a matter of minutes. Gramita's silver and turquoise bracelets jingle together like funky Latin jazz music while she makes her tortillas. She gathers little balls of dough from the flour. Then she swings the dough in the air like a frisbee to get the perfect shape. It lands perfectly on the counter, and she uses her rolling pin to flatten the dough. Gramita has many rolling pins that she picks from. Small to extra large, they all get the job done. She cooks her tortillas on her comal, cast iron griddle on the stove. She flips the tortillas over with her hand until each side is cooked perfectly with golden brown spots. Gramita is famous for her tortillas. She is the center of her family, and her tortillas bring everyone together. The front doors of the house swing open as family members drop by to start their day with a fresh tortilla. Here come my uncles. Like a line of soldiers, they each shuffle into the small kitchen. My Uncle Richard is leading the group today. Behind him is Chris, Alfonso, Gilbert, Fred, Wilfred, Danny, and Jimmy. Gramita greets her sons. Buenos dias, le de Dios. When the tortillas come off the stove, everyone is eager to grab one. Everyone eats their tortillas differently. Some eat their tortilla with butter, some with jelly. Others eat their tortilla with green chili. My uncles always eat their first tortilla in the kitchen and then take one to go on their way out. As they leave, my Auntie Deborah arrives with my cousins Julian and Rosita. Siéntate, says Gramita. We all sit at the table with my mom Georgia and my sister Ramona. Gramita's Chihuahua sits under the table, anxiously waiting for a piece from a friendly hand. Gramita smiles as her family is filled with tortillas. Gramita's tortillas are like comfort food for the soul. They solve heartbreaks and headaches. Gramita shares her tortillas with neighbors and friends as a warm gift of love. Holidays, celebrations, or just a regular day, her tortillas are always right for the occasion. Gramita's tortillas go everywhere. She carries them from coast to coast like a little piece of home. She takes them on planes, trains, and cars. Gramita packs them in her purse. They are kept safe, wrapped in cloth, in a clear plastic bag. No one goes hungry when Gramita is there. Gramita goes to restaurants and orders her food, but once it arrives, she reaches into her purse for her favorite side. Out she pulls a tortilla and the waiter smiles. A fancy restaurant meal is not complete without a tortilla to eat. My Gramita really did that. That's a true story. I asked Gramita to teach me how to make her tortillas. I practice making balls of dough and roll them out with a small wooden rolling pin. Some come out thick, some are square. I look at Gramita and she laughs as I keep trying. I roll my tortilla and try to swing it in the air like she does, but it lands nowhere near. Eventually, I put it on the comal and watch closely, waiting for one side to rise perfectly before I flip it over. I turn my tortilla and don't see the spots that Gramita's get. It seems too soft. I cook it longer and now it's crunchy. My tortilla is nothing like Gramita's, even though we use the same ingredients. Gramita, why are your tortillas so good? I ask her. She says, don't worry, mija, it takes time. My tortillas come off the comal, but I push them away to the corner. Before I run off to play, I grab one of Gramita's tortillas instead. I yell, gracias, Gramita, te amo. Many years later, I've never had another tortilla like Gramita's. So that is the English version of Gramita's tortillas. And now I want to share with you guys a cooking demonstration. And I'm going to show you how I make tortillas from scratch. Hi guys, so I'm going to demonstrate how to make tortillas. This recipe is from scratch and it's a very simple recipe. So here I'm starting out with 2 cups of flour. And before I add anything else, I'm gonna whisk it really quickly, really lightly, just to make sure there's no big clumps. and that should make it a lot easier moving forward. This is a tip my auntie Deborah reminded me to do, so it's very helpful. Now I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt, and now 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of lard. Right here I have some warm water, and I'm kind of just going to be adding it as needed. So I'll start off with about a little more than half a cup, and really just start mixing it together. So definitely gonna need more water. Right now I have about 3/4 cup of warm water, and starting to mix a lot easier here. I'm kind of just folding it. I think I'm gonna need all of this water. So basically I just added a cup of water, and this should be just right. It's gonna take a minute to like really mix in the lard. I know I kind of just put in like a clump of lard, so I really need to massage it through the dough, kind of make it more even. Trying to mix in the rest of the flour here on the sides. I'm not too worried about if there's a little bit of flour left out on the side of the bowl. I just want to get a good amount of dough and mix it as much as possible. I don't feel like I need to get every single piece of dough, but I know a lot of people may want to, not leave any behind. So just add this coming together really well. So I'm pretty happy with this actually, with this texture. I'm going to cover it just for a little bit. Let it settle in, maybe 10 minutes max. Just gonna cover it with a little towel here. I'm gonna clean up my hands, and then I'll be right back and we can start rolling it. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes and I think it's ready to go. I guess first I should put a little bit of flour on this so it won't stick too much. I wanted to show you guys my bolillos. My mom gave me this one, and my Uncle Richard actually made this for me. And I don't know where these came from, these 2 little mini bolillos. I just thought they're so cute. I wanted to show you guys those. And I think I will use this one. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on it. Hopefully it won't stick too much to the dough. Okay, so I'm just gonna tear off about a handful, and make it into a little ball and just start rolling it. I'm gonna kind of keep turning it as I roll so that way it'll be more circular. I remember when I was little seeing my grandma do this, but she would do it a lot faster. She would roll it, turn it really fast. So I'm gonna use that method, but just not as fast as she did. I wish I could, but hopefully someday. So as it's starting to make a circle, I'm kind of just gonna start pushing it out because it's already a circle right now. I'm just gonna even it out now, kind of make it more flat. I'm sure a lot of you watching are very good at making tortillas. So don't be too hard on me if you see me doing anything that might be a little bit off, but I feel like I'm learning. It's a lot of fun. So I have a good size one right here. Feel pretty good about it. I'm gonna continue rolling out some more, and then next I'll take you guys to the comal on the stove, and then we'll start cooking them. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, so I'm back in the kitchen now. I wanted to show you these really cute flowers that I got for my Gramita's birthday. Her birthday is April 12th, so celebrated that earlier this week, but now I'm back in the kitchen ready to cook the tortillas. And let me show you what I have here. So I've turned on the comal. I put it like on a kind of a low to medium temperature. I put a little bit of oil on top with a paper towel. And here's the tortillas. I have 6 tortillas, so the recipe that we made today makes half a dozen. And notice I use parchment paper, which just kind of makes it easier to clean up and easier to kind of set the tortillas. Of course, some people make them one at a time, and once cooking, they roll out another one. So I guess it's up to you if you want to roll them all out first and then start cooking them. I know my Gramita was pro enough to be able to make one, put it on the comal, and then make the next one while that one's cooking. So it's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. But I feel like it's pretty good temperature right now. So I'm going to put the first tortilla on, and here we go. So it's starting to kind of change colors to a little bit darker, which basically means starting to cook, of course. Of course, also the thinner the dough, the tortilla is, then the quicker it will cook. It's up to you. Of course, you probably don't want to make them too thick. I'm going to use a spatula because I know if I use my hands, well, I guess I'll grab it over here. Try to hold the camera and show you guys how to cook it at the same time. So kind of only have like one hand right now, but I'm gonna just take turns flipping it a couple times just to heat up each side. And it's not sticking to the comal, so that's great. Some people like to add their little special ingredients. Like I know I used regular lard. I've heard people adding like bacon grease or different kind of stuff like that. So it's up to you guys what you want to do with your recipe. I'm sure along the way you'll kind of learn just the way you like to make it. I don't want to turn up the comal because I just don't want it to get too hot and start smoking. So I'm okay with it kind of taking some time right now to cook. But I also have another little comal here. I also wanted to share with you guys. My mom, she actually has a comal that it's flat and it goes on 2 burners. And so you can cook like a ton of tortillas at the same time. Pretty sure it was my grandmita's. She's had it forever. I know I've seen it forever since I was little. So that's a pretty cool one. So I'm going to, actually, I'm just going to leave it on this side for a little longer. So I'm just finishing cooking up the last 2 tortillas. You can see the spots starting to come in. So they're just about almost done. I just finished cooking all the tortillas. Here's the final result. They are warm and ready to be eaten. They smell amazing. So this was a really simple recipe on how to make tortillas from scratch. I hope you guys try it out with a loved one, bond over some tortillas, and make some memories. I had so much fun sharing this with you, and I really hope you guys try it out and enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed my cooking demonstration. Before I read the Spanish version, I actually want to talk to you guys and see if you have any questions for me. So if it's okay with the host, I would like to start a Q&A right now.
Yeah, I went ahead and unmuted or allowed people to unmute themselves or to chat. So if people have questions, feel free.
Okay.
So I have a question. What is it that you call the thing that you're cooking on, the comal?
Yeah, comal.
Comal. So it looks like it's a heavy cast iron piece of equipment. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, it's super heavy. It's like a cast iron griddle that you can put on your stovetop, and it's perfect for tortillas.
And so how long has that one been, the one you were cooking on, how long has that one been in the family?
That's a good question. I'm looking at my mom on the side. She's saying more than 50 years. I know she gave that to me when I moved from Santa Rosa, came to Albuquerque. I took that one. So it's been like half a century.
All right. Thank you. That's amazing.
I know. Thank you for asking.
When I first read the book, I laughed so hard when your gramita had the tortillas in her purse to eat at a restaurant. So did she do that often, or was that just a like one or two times? Or was that just like her thing to always have extra tortillas in her purse just in case?
No, it was her thing to always have tortillas like on her. Basically, when we left the house, she brought tortillas. So we were kind of surprised when she had them at the restaurant because we were in Las Vegas, Nevada. So she brought them like a long way. But yeah, it was so common for her to just bring them anytime she left the house.
Not what I've expected in a grandma's purse. Like my grandma always had candy, right? But not a tortilla.
Yeah, and we went to Las Vegas, Nevada because she loved the casino. So it's so funny that she brought her tortillas to the casino.
I loved the illustration where you had the tortillas with the butter and chile and all of that on them, because it's like in my family we always had it with like butter, and then sometimes they just roast some green chili and put it on there, and that's all you ate with garlic salts.
I know, it's always so hard to decide like what to eat it with. It's like definitely butter, and then I think I like to do jelly after, and sometimes like a scrambled egg, and the green chili in a tortilla. It's basically like that's the 3 tortillas you have to have first.
Yeah, you do.
My family, they like kind of cook an omelet and put it on the tortilla with green chili.
That's a good recipe. I want to try that. Yeah. That's a way like easier way to do it, less messy.
I was going to ask you, I know some people don't like to use lard. So have you ever made any with just regular, I guess, margarine or butter, or have you tried other ways of doing it?
I actually haven't. Crisco? That's
Vegetable
the lard.
shortening. Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
vegetable shortening. It's vegetable based.
Yeah. The only other thing, yeah, is Crisco, lard. I haven't tried anything else. Have you?
I've tried it with butter. I don't mind lard really, but I have
Yeah.
friends who are vegetarian, so I've tried it with butter and it's different, but it can work.
That's good to know. Yeah.
My grandma would be shocked. I mean, she would be very upset if she knew I was making tortillas with anything but lard. But
I know.
she's in the next world now, so I asked her for forgiveness, and she doesn't understand. She didn't used to understand vegetarians.
Yeah. I know whenever I was flipping the tortillas with a spatula in the video, I was like, my gramita would be like, just use your hand.
How old was I'm assuming your Gramita's not around anymore. How long did she live?
How old was she when she passed away? She was 84. So yeah, I was in 8th grade. So yeah, she raised like so many of us, really.
Well, she's alive now through this book.
I know. Yeah, it's been so exciting to be able to like share her with everybody. I feel like she's kind of like everybody's gramita now.
I think does Elisa have a question?
I had a question. I was expecting for you to use corn flour.
Oh,
Would you tell me, you know, why, like, I'm from Venezuela, so I don't know, but I thought it was more common to use corn flour.
it's actually really common for us to make flour tortillas. Yeah, not like the corn tortilla. We use those for like enchiladas, tacos, maybe even huevos rancheros. But just to have like a tortilla on the side, we usually don't use corn flour.
I see.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, the chipotle flour tortilla was not the real thing,
Oh.
but I guess it is.
Yeah. I don't know how they make theirs, but yeah. Definitely use flour, not corn here.
Or both, right?
Yeah, we use both, of course, but
it's interesting. I never really thought that. I thought everybody knew about flour tortillas, but it's good to know that that's, you know, that maybe, I don't know if that's New Mexico or Southwest, because it's very common.
It is Nuevo Mexico, because my family here in Nuevo Mexico, they do flour tortillas, but my family in Texas and Mexico, they do corn. So it's like if you're eating at a restaurant here, you're gonna get flour tortillas is like the default. If you're eating in Texas, you have to say like tortillas de harina, otherwise they'll bring you tortillas de maíz. So
I see. We're in LA, so I guess it's more common the corn around here.
Although my favorite place is flour.
Oh, go ahead. They're so common here. They have big machines that make flour tortillas in the restaurants.
yeah.
Industrial. That's how much people eat flour tortillas here.
We eat, in Venezuela, we have arepas. So it's kind of a corn tortilla, but very thick, and then you slice it in two. But my husband says that mine are not real arepas because I just put like chia seeds and hemp seeds and oats and, you know, like make it like super healthy, you know, California style. So he's like, this is not an arepa. But that's what we have, you know, on a day-to-day basis. And then, you know, once in a while we get my daughter loves to go to my grandma's because she says that she makes white arepas, you know, not this like funky brown.
I like chocolate.
Oh, she makes hot chocolate for you, right?
Yeah.
We're a big food family and we're inspired by your book.
Yes, it was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We have a question in the chat from Sutherland. Do you remember how old you were when you made your first tortilla?
Wow. It's a good question. Yeah, I'm thinking probably 5.
Wow.
That was probably my first like real participation, but I'm sure I was just observing her since the beginning. Because we grew up in the same house. It was me, my mom, my sister, and my gramita. So she was really like one of my primary caretakers, basically like another parent. So really when my mom was at work, I would just spend the whole day with her and just watch her all day.
Do you remember what we talk about when in the early days when we couldn't make tortillas round, what US state they looked like when they were not shaped properly? We'd say, well, that's, you know, that's Florida. Or
Yeah. I feel like I would have been lucky if it even looked close to a state. It probably looked more like if you were to like drop a splat of paint and it just had a bunch of different shapes on the edge and it just looked like a splat basically.
That's a great description. That's exactly it. It's just a blob of paint.
Yeah.
John put something in the chat and I appreciate this. He's saying his mic doesn't work, but he said, this reminds me so much of my grandma, who we called Gramita or Gamita, sorry. She did all measurements with her hand and no measuring cups or spoons. We had to figure out the recipe measurements. So many memories. That's so true, right? Either hands or not even just like putting in your hand. It was just like by feel, right? Just like throwing stuff in and everybody was like, well, write down the recipe or something. And no, they couldn't, right?
I know that's so true. My gramita also used to she would put different ingredients in like old containers. So she would like save a whipped cream container and put like flour in it. So it's almost like only she even knew where everything was.
And then he said his 8-year-old daughter and him have been making tortillas since she was 5. Her tortillas are always heart-shaped.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's great.
That's sweet. That's a good idea too, because you can like cut them out in shapes for just special occasions. I used to ask my mom to make like little mini tortillas, little round ones when I was little.
I know one of our colleagues does stencils with tortillas. And so either making the tortilla a stencil and then or making like, you can kind of create designs on the tortilla itself with like peanut butter or cinnamon or something like cinnamon sugar or something like that. So it's something that you've created, but then you can also eat too. So, and it's also maybe something that you have around your house that you can use instead of having to try to find art supplies. You have it right there in your kitchen.
That's really cool. I haven't seen anything like that.
Did your gramita make you wait till she had the pile of tortillas, or did you eat them as she finished making them?
No, I would definitely just eat them right away, like as it came off the comal. Yeah. Even whenever I was making them in the video, like I wanted to eat one right away.
That's when they're best, warm off the.
I know.
Yeah, my grandma.
Do you ever eat too many? You get sick to your stomach?
It's never happened. I
My
think I'm
grandma-
conditioned.
My grandma just couldn't make enough, and we'd just take them and put some butter on them and take them and put some butter on them. And she'd get frustrated every once in a while because she said, I can't see how many I'm making.
I know. That's so true. I'm wondering, what do you guys eat your tortillas with? Like any interesting ingredients? Because I know sometimes I like to mix peanut butter with miel syrup, like maple syrup, and then eat it with my tortilla. Does anybody else like use anything?
That's a good question. You guys should put in the chat maybe something, or you can say it, something that you eat. I remember my mom sometimes would make for us for lunch, she would take a tortilla and put peanut butter and jelly in it and then just roll it up. So it was a big long roll that was, and people thought it was the strangest thing, but I thought, you know, it wasn't too much, but it was great. It wasn't a homemade tortilla, but it was still yummy. Diem says that she only makes tortillas with her grandma, and she likes them with beans and cheese. Sutherland likes cinnamon and sugar. I would guess a little butter too on Sutherland to help the cinnamon sugar stick. Sonia says butter and sugar. Renee says crema.
Crema. Yeah. I also sometimes I'll like melt shredded cheese on top and then put some salsa and then cut it like a little pizza.
Oh yeah. John says beans and chili, peanut butter, queso, everything. Anything and everything.
I know.
Does anybody
That's
know?
I was just gonna
something strange. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's so interesting how like a tortilla can easily be used for savory or sweet.
Yep.
But go ahead.
Ask if anybody has something really unusual that they put in their tortillas. I'm not sure what that would be. Because they go with everything. I mean, really, I can't think of anything that you couldn't put in a tortilla.
I had a friend who would do the flour tortillas, and I'm gonna get it wrong, but there was a store in Albuquerque that used to be called Las Americas, and they had like all this stuff from Latin America, and I cannot remember what it was, like guava. It was like a guava kind of jelly or something that he would put in, or guayaba. I can't remember what it was, but it was like
it's a guava paste. It's kind of a in between a paste and a jelly. It comes like in a round tin.
Yes.
Yep.
And I was like, there you go. The border doesn't exist.
And so the best combination is the guava paste with cream cheese.
Yes.
Ooh,
oh my gosh,
would be
that's
amazing.
the best.
Yeah, because the guava paste is like so sweet. And then you got the cream cheese that it's salty. It's like, oh, so good.
I was just telling my husband about something similar to that when I lived in Brazil. We didn't use tortillas. There were no tortillas. We had more like a French bread, and that was what we would often put in the bread as a snack. DM, is this correct? It says your brother likes tortillas with green beans. Is that correct? Green beans. Now that would be different, I think.
We have to do a shout out to DM again, because this is her third day with us.
Yeah, green beans are pushing the envelope, I think. A tortilla envelope.
So Maria, do you want to read the Spanish?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Sure. So the Spanish version is also in the same book. It's in the second half of the book. All right, here we go. Por las mañanas despierto en una casa cálida y sólida. Me levanto de la cama y sigo el olor de las tortillas frescas hasta la cocina. Encuentro a mi gramita en la cocina. Hace docenas de tortillas en cuestión de minutos. Gramita tiene pulseras hechas de plata y turquesa. Al moverse mientras ella hace sus tortillas, sus ollas tocan una melodía parecida a la música latina de jazz. Recoge bolitas de masa de la harina. Luego balancea la masa en el aire como un frisbee para obtener la forma perfecta. Aterriza perfectamente en la mesa y ella usa su palote para aplanar la masa. Gramita tiene muchos palotes de amasar para elegir. De pequeñas a extra grandes, todas hacen el trabajo. Cocina sus tortillas en el comal, una plancha de hierro fundida en la estufa. Da vuelta las tortillas con la mano hasta que cada lado está perfectamente cocido con manchas doradas. Gramita es famosa por sus tortillas. Ella es el centro de su familia y sus tortillas unen a todos. Las puertas de la casa se abren cuando los miembros de la familia vienen para comenzar el día con una tortilla recién hecha. Aquí vienen mis tíos. Como una fila de soldados, cada uno entra arrastrando los pies a la pequeña cocina. Tío Richard lidera el grupo hoy. Detrás de él están Chris, Alfonso, Gilbert, Fred, Wilfred, Danny y Jimmy. Gramita saluda a sus hijos. Buenos días, le dé Dios. Cuando las tortillas salen de la estufa, todos están ansiosos por tomar una. Todos comen sus tortillas de manera diferente. Algunos comen su tortilla con mantequilla, otros con mermelada, otros comen su tortilla con chile verde. Mis tíos siempre comen su primera tortilla en la cocina y luego toman una para salir. Cuando se van, llega mi tía Debra con mis primos Julián y Rosita. Siéntate, dice Gramita. Todos sentamos en la mesa con mi mamá Georgia y mi hermana Ramona. El chihuahua de Gramita se sienta debajo de la mesa, esperando ansiosamente un pedazo de tortilla. Gramita sonríe mientras su familia se llena de tortillas. Las tortillas de Gramita son como alimento reconfortante para el alma. Resuelven frenos cardíacos y dolores de cabeza. Gramita comparte sus tortillas con vecinos y amigos como un cálido regalo de amor. Fiestas, celebraciones o simplemente un día normal. Sus tortillas siempre son adecuadas para la ocasión. Las tortillas de Gramita van a todas partes. Los lleva de costa a costa como un pedacito de casa. Los lleva en aviones, trenes y coches. Gramita los empaca en su bolso. Se mantienen a salvo, envueltos en tela en una bolsa de plástico transparente. Nadie pasa hambre cuando Gramita está ahí. Gramita va a los restaurantes y pide su comida, pero una vez que llega, busca en su bolso su lado favorito. Saca una tortilla y el camarero sonríe. Una comida elegante en un restaurante no está completa sin una tortilla para comer. Le pido a Gramita que me enseñe a hacer sus tortillas. Practico haciendo bolas de masa y las extiendo con un pequeño rodillo de madera. Algunos salen espesos, algunos son cuadrados. Miro a Gramita y ella se ríe mientras sigo intentándolo. Ruedo mi tortilla y trato de balancear en el aire como ella lo hace, pero no aterriza cerca. Finalmente lo pongo en el comal y miro de cerca esperando que un lado se levante perfectamente antes de darle la vuelta. Doy la vuelta a mi tortilla y no veo las manchas que le quedan a la Gramita. Parece demasiado blando. Lo cocino más y ahora está demasiado crujiente. Mi tortilla no se parece en nada a la de Gramita, a pesar de que usamos los mismos ingredientes. Gramita, ¿por qué tus tortillas son tan buenos? Le pregunto. Ella dice, no te preocupes, mija, se toma tiempo. Mis tortillas se desprenden del comal, pero los aparto a la esquina. Antes de salir corriendo a jugar, agarro uno de las tortillas de Gramita. Grito, gracias Gramita, te amo. Muchos años después, nunca he probado otra tortilla como la de Gramita. So that's the end of the Spanish version. And yeah, that really wraps up my presentation. I wanted to share with you guys that I made a Gramitas Tortillas Instagram, and I'm really just taking pictures and sharing memories and really documenting like my journey with this book. So I would appreciate if you guys would follow Gramitas Tortillas on Instagram. And I wanted to thank my good friends, Stephen Williams and Mark Acosta, for being here today. And they manage this studio downtown. I'm in downtown Albuquerque at Albuquerque Studio 519. It's a public access channel, so it's open to anyone that wants to come down here and shoot something. Thank you guys so much for being here with me, and I'll send it back to the host.
Thank you, Maria. That was great.
Thank you.
So beautiful. Anybody has